Good evening, everybody. This is Cinnamon Noir.
And this is the Ramen Shaman.
Welcome back to Rayman Legends. We're right in the middle of Fiesta de los Muertos. And here we have the last time I am going to open up some lucky tickets. You can probably tell I already was starting to get sick of this. It was already becoming perfunctory. And it took me out of the level for some reason. Not sure why.
Ouch.
I think I pressed wrong. Yeah, more lums. It's funny, you know, the creatures also give you lums, and it's like they expect you to log in every day to do it. But I don't know why you would do that. This is a very short game, and it feels like the kind of game that's designed to be won very quickly. So there wouldn't even be that many days on which you'd log in.
Yeah.
It's not like this is Destiny or something. I don't know, I feel like that mechanic didn't quite work, you know?
Ah, well.
And here we are in Snakes on a Cake. I'm sick of them, personally. I don't know about you.
Had it.
Anyway, so...
Motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking cake?
Yeah, I didn't want to say it. So you can already see this level has a rather unusual mechanic. We have the cake from earlier levels, but now instead of Murphy eating it up, we have these very strange snakes who don't really look like snakes so much as centipedes.
Yeah.
And since they are not under your control, it's a little more difficult for you to figure out how to do this. I thought for a minute there was something back there, but I was mistaken. I was actually hearing a teensy from farther ahead. This level's got some nice music, some shuffling guitar. So yeah, these two will keep this cake constantly broken open. And up here is where
weird.
Yeah.
And tricky.
It is a little confusing to find out how exactly they'll move and cut through the cake. Oh, will I get it? Will I get it on my first try? Yes. Frankly, I think it's almost impossible not to get that on a first try. I'm not sure, though. For obvious reasons, I haven't played it more than once.
Yeah, I guess... Well...
It's like a pachinko board, only in this case, there's very few things that are just holes. Oh yeah, and here's a big guy.
True.
Don't run into him. And in keeping with this world tradition, we become Little Rayman. Oh yeah. Well, that was an interesting sight. So, not all the things that break through cake in this level are snakes. Sometimes it is giant luchadores. No trip to Mexico would be complete without them. Yeah, I don't always do well in this, but... So yeah, the trickiest thing about this area is always getting out of these little areas, not getting into them.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you go into them, you're following the little centipede. But on the way out, you're going to have to avoid it. And you'll be heading right into it, so... That little section right there used wall running, which we haven't used much earlier in the world, but we're going to be using it a lot in later levels, so it's important.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, here's an interesting bonus world. I got a little bit of a late start in this one, but luckily I was able to recover. And they give you a little breather here in the middle, which is nice.
Yeah, that is. Oof.
You really got to know your air currents in this level.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sub-level, I should say.
Timing would have to be spot on.
Oh, not entirely. This is a little more forgiving than it looks. So yeah, interestingly enough, the King and Queen are both really early in this level. We're only about halfway through it, maybe even less. It really is unpredictable. I mean, you would think, since all the other teensies are in order, that there would be some predictability to the King and Queen, but there never is. Anyway, more of these skeleton guys. They are never a threat, like most regular enemies in this game. I always sort of divide in my head games into... games where every enemy is a potential threat, and games where it's more about traps and most enemies are just distractions.
I guess.
The pure platformers are more likely to fall into the second category. And this is definitely one of those. Ooh. Yeah, a lot of tight... What's the right word? There's a lot of tight jumps in this level. This is also the point where I would say this stops looking like cake. Like, does this look like a cake to you?
Oh,
to me, this looks like a carpet. I would call this a carpet with spikes on it.
That is kind of closer to what it is.
Maybe it's supposed to be some kind of chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Chocolate, after all, does come from South America originally, so it's appropriate.
It seems kind of odd, though.
Yeah, it is. I don't know where they got the whole spiky cake thing from. It's an obvious thing for platformers, but...
It definitely seems like some kind of confection, but it is kind of odd in that, like a kind of.
Now we're back to more traditional white cake. Oh, and I'm really messing up here because I'm getting very close to. There we go.
Ooh.
Yeah, these little things, you may have noticed them popping out of the ground. The little like radish-like things. They're really weird. They weren't in the first game. They're one of the more serious changes from the original, and I don't know why they were put in, because they don't really play into any serious mechanic in this. They're just there. They help you get some bonus stuff sometimes. Sometimes there'll be teensies in them, which is kind of a fridge horror thing, actually, when you think about a teensy in a cage under the ground.
Ugh. Yeah.
It's like a living burial. Yeah, I just enjoy that music. There's really not a lot else to this level, unfortunately. One of the simpler levels. Oh. But now we're finally getting a twist on it. This is going to be one of the chases. One of the chases where all the exact same things happen over and over again. He pinches her nose. She screams. He runs away. We are Little Rayman this time, so that might cause some differences.
Yeah, I guess.
One thing you may be noticing is that things are happening very quickly here.
Oh, yeah.
You really cannot go based on visuals here. You have to just use rhythm. Like, you know, you just keep moving forward and you jump at the appropriate times.
Yeah.
Because really, most of this stuff is not predictable. I mean, look at those luchadors just punching through the cake. Kind of reminds me of, in Yoshi's Island, there was a level where a bunch of chomps would just fly out of the background and chomp through a vertical slice of the world. That's what
Although this also seems like one of those things where a lot of the things that are going on screen aren't liable to... are probably just gonna miss you if you keep following the guy.
That's exactly right. If you keep up the pace, they can't hit you. They might even visually hit you, but I still think you're safe from them. You know what I'm saying? It looks like they hit you, but they don't. Those luchadors are really weird. There is a reason for them to be there, which we'll see soon, but...
Interesting.
I think I would call them the weirdest part of this level. Anywho, next up we have another long chase level. Again, similar in style to Living Dead Party from the first game. And the game throws up messages once again to distract me from the game. Here we go. Sprint for your life. That's just good advice in general, I think. Very good aerobic exercise. It prolongs your life, especially when there's a wall of flames behind you. Yeah, I would definitely say that these bonus levels in particular are a lot like the Tricky Treasure levels from the original Rayman Origins. Yeah, you just gotta move really quickly. It's honestly a little distressing how easy these are, because the ones from the last level were harder. So I don't know what's up here. I guess that might be a little tight timing. I think it's always hard to test these levels. Like, how do you know exactly how difficult they are? A tester might get through this on the first try, but just from, like, really being into the groove, not necessarily because it's easy. Like, who knows? Maybe if I had a bad run through this, I would think it was really hard too, but... a little hard to tell.
True.
Yeah, see, the level's already over. These levels seem to go by really quick, but in this world most of all. Like, most especially. You remember the ones from the last world, right? Where I was falling vertically? Those had quite a bit of tension to them. More than these, I think. I also just think it's kind of funny. You know, this design was used at the end of Rayman Origins, but here it's just halfway through. It seems a little less purposeful. There's always a danger of that you'll just throw all the ingredients from previous games in sort of a stew without thinking about their placement.
Uh-huh.
I remember Lindsay Ellis complaining, this is going to seem way off topic, but she was complaining that in The Hobbit, they used the Ring Wraith theme for just some random scene where people were in danger. And it's like, you don't use it this way. You know better than this.
Well, and the weird part is when the camera is centered on Thorin.
Yeah, right. Like he's a bad guy or something.
Which is just weird. Like, do you remember the purpose of that music?
Yeah. Either they forgot or they stopped caring. My bet's on the latter.
And also, you know, God forbid you actually use original music.
Too much time.
Oh well.
They spent 5 years in Lord of the Rings. They just didn't have the time. Anyway, we finally have an interesting level concept here. We gotta dodge all this salsa. So I felt I was gonna be kind of clever and get rid of it early. My reward, of course, was to have to wait.
Yeah.
So I kind of screwed myself over there. Oh, here we go.
I don't know, that does seem like kind of annoying design.
Oh, it's not too bad. I mean, it was only like a couple extra seconds.
True.
Yeah, so there's a very good reason why luchadors were falling out of the sky earlier. And it's because I think they're all this guy's like little brothers or something.
Oh god.
I love this dude. He just looks so demented. And he's got that laugh.
He looks happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like dementedly happy. He's like Sloth from the Goonies. Oh, and here's more of those guys. So this is actually very similar to the chase from the last part of the last level, where you're just basically running forward as fast as you can, make the right moves at the right time, and never stop. Oh. I don't know why he keeps saying luchadore, because the singular is luchador.
Is luchador, yeah.
Yeah, it's very strange.
The plural would be is luchadores, but...
Maybe it's just his cute little nickname for us, who knows. Anyway, I make a big mistake here. And I get bodied.
Ooh.
Ugh, that's a creepy thing in the background. I never noticed that before. It's like a clown cake. No one wants a clown cake. Even Tom Carvel wouldn't allow that in his store. I say that. I'm sure there is actually a clown cake in like Dairy Queen's little catalog. Oh, and I really mess up there.
Oops.
I think in the back of my mind I thought maybe that vertical shaft would lead to something, which is a ridiculous idea. I mean, in an ordinary level that might have been the case, but this is a chase level. You never go up or down in a level like this if you can avoid it. Also, the fact that I had to completely lose my rhythm to even be near that thing should probably have been a clue to me that there was nothing good there. There we go. So you need to ground pound that in order to get far enough. This guy does seem to have some kind of rubber banding, like he will slow down a little bit if you get too close to him. And then we terminate him. He even does the thumbs up.
Oh, the Terminator reference. Terminator 2, rather.
Only the Terminator didn't fall into chunky salsa. Maybe there's a Mexican Terminator, like how there's an Italian Spider-Man. Who knows?
There was also a Japanese Spider-Man.
Oh boy. You mean Kumo Ningen? That's for the real weebs out there.
That was it. I think there was actually... They actually licensed a Japanese adaptation of Spider-Man.
I was just kidding. Kumo Ningen is like a really literal translation of Spider-Man. Anyway, now we are finally at the boss. And of course it is Lucha Libre, because it's a Mexican-themed level. This isn't exactly genius, you know. It goes for the obvious. However, this guy is kind of a cool boss. Oddly enough, the setup of this boss with the little platform in the middle and the deadly floor reminded me of Hollow Knight, of all things. This game isn't much like that in other ways, but in this, kind of. We have a fantastic musical track. I love this one. So, yeah, this guy basically doesn't think you're worthy of his attention. You're a gnat compared to him. So he just hits either side of the platform trying to launch you into the salsa. Gets a little annoyed when it doesn't hit you. He'll also cause these platforms to fall down. They'll have cages on them. So as with many boss fights, you need to sort of be on your guard in order to get to them if you want to get a good score. Oh, and I messed up completely there. You're supposed to get to that thing quickly so that you can use it to pop into the background, where you can hit the guy on his conveniently X-shaped head bandage. Which is literally just saying, hit me on my head. He asked for it. Yeah, I will say, this boss is pretty cool, like most bosses in this game, but one thing I don't like about it, the individual stages are really long, and it can kind of feel annoying when you're failing.
Ariba?
Sorry, is he saying what?
Is he saying Ariba?
He might be. I don't know.
This is weird.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. There's a boss in Super Meat Boy that's a little like this. Like this, heavily based on memorization, only in Super Meat Boy it's a little less forgiving. Also, you might have noticed from the way the platforms are designed, this is kind of like the last boss fight in Shovel Knight. Do you remember the final boss fight of Shovel Knight?
Oh, well.
Where you had to fight the amulet
say,
thing?
before, Super Meat Boy is pretty unforgiving in general.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And the boss fights are mainly based on repetition. But the thing about the guy from level 4, which is literally hell, kind of interesting, is that it's not a chase level like the others. So that's one of the things that makes it so hard, is he just attacks you a lot. It's very rare in Super Meat Boy to encounter an enemy who attacks you. So naturally, once we only have one left, we can use that to get over. Sort of unrealistic. I mean, the guy could have just gotten rid of it and then we'd be screwed, but then it would not be a video game.
Yeah.
So yeah, not the easiest thing in the world to get this chest when it comes in. I often forget just how slow Rayman moves in the wind currents. You basically need to start moving toward it real quickly. Another thing that might have sort of caught me off guard is I was trying to avoid his hands, because I hadn't realized yet that they were in the background and can't hurt you. When you have a boss who's got such a big sprite like this, it is sometimes a little difficult to tell when he's going to hurt you and when he isn't. Oh, that was bad. By the way, another thing I don't really like about this boss fight is that you don't get hearts in it very often. So, for long stretches, you'll basically be running on one hit. You can't get hit at all. And this pattern, very difficult to dodge. I don't know if you've noticed. So he hits you over there. You gotta dodge one more, and this time with all these lava tendrils coming out. The lava tendrils are actually quite easy to dodge. Their main function is just to make certain portions of the screen inaccessible to you. It's highly unlikely you'll run into them, but they may force you to run into a fireball.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, yeah, by the way, he makes one last swipe with his hands. So make sure you're not on the top half of the screen when he does that.
You complain about the games I like being unforgiving.
Well, yeah. I would call this unforgiving.
I guess they're tough in different ways.
Exactly. You know, it's the funny thing. It's not raw difficulty that I dislike or am not good at. It's the way the difficulty is arranged.
True.
I honestly think a lot of it is 2D versus 3D. So this is complicated and there's stuff all over the screen, but you can see it all at once, right?
I guess that makes sense, because you like Hollow Knight a lot.
Yes, I do. The thing is, in these 2D games, you can see everything at once, and so they're not hard to parse. Whereas with a 3D game, there's all kinds of things coming at you that you can't see. And I know they're balanced to account for that, but at the same time, I just find 3D a little harder to deal with because of that. I don't know, it's hard to say. I would definitely agree that Rayman Legends is not exactly an easy game.
No.
Although again, Rayman Origins was harder. You know, there were some bosses in Rayman Origins that were easily this hard, if not more so. And another thing is, in Rayman Origins, there didn't tend to be checkpoints. Whereas in this game, there are checkpoints, so you know. Okay, so one last time. We gotta hit him. They keep that eyeball out of his head for a distressingly long period of time.
It's weird. Rayman hasn't seemed... I guess he has sort of a stomp attack.
Yeah, right. No, you use it fairly often, actually. It's not uncommon.
Yeah, I guess he does. I guess I'm just not used to that.
Anyway, as the victor, we are showered in flowers.
I'm used to seeing him use that, like, glow fist projectile thing.
Yeah, as is appropriate. And we're gonna toy around with this guy a little bit, because he's caused us a lot of trouble. But in the end, you always have to do a charge attack at this guy, and knock him into the stratosphere.
Oh, God.
Happens every time. I really like the clothesline constellation in this. And so a third part of the symphony begins. The Poking with Pitchfork Symphony. Adds a little bit of percussion. No new melody, but you know. You need some of that.
I guess. Although, why is that one just jumping on him?
I don't know. Variety. You can only poke people with a pitchfork so much before you begin to crave something new, you know? I mean, these aliens just live on this tiny meteor planet. They don't have anything else.
True.
We're like their god. I mean, for giving them something entertaining. They probably never had anything like this before. It's almost heartwarming, in a way.
True.
Anywho. So, we've beaten the boss, and once again, the level is totally complete. Except for the one last level. Because there is always one more level.
Always one more level.
The rhythm level. This one is Mariachi Madness. So it starts off pretty simple. I like what look like down power lines in the background. Not very deserty, but interesting. So, there's sort of a mariachi arrangement to this, but this, like the first level, is also a popular song. Have you figured out what it is yet?
Eye of the Tiger.
Very good.
I mean, it's a pretty recognizable melody.
Oh yeah, definitely. That riff is legendary.
They have some pretty high-profile songs to license.
Oh, I know. I wonder how much they spent on it. I'm not sure.
Covers of the originals, but still.
Yeah, right. No, you still gotta license them, definitely.
Yeah.
So you are Little Rayman, which means that you can jump atop these chains.
It
also means you have to be kind of careful because you won't fall through them. Sorry, what were you saying?
Sorry. I was gonna say, I like that these are arranged sort of like a musical arrangement.
Oh, yeah, right. They're like a score. And, of course, the ubiquitous kazoo. Where would silly video games be without it?
Oop.
Yeah, and where would bad Let's Plays be without failures? There we go. That's better. Except that then I die again. Yeah, my victories are always short-lived in these levels. They are pretty hard. I can see why they're always put at the end after the boss fight. Because in some ways they are more challenging than the boss fights. I don't know if you've noticed, but every single one of these... It took me a while to figure out that you're supposed to hit those. Those are not lums, they're enemies. It's not like... I mean, they are shown quite clearly as enemies. It's just that I'm so used to lums being there that it's like my brain had a little aneurysm for a moment. Like, am I not supposed to just wait here? Like, that would be easy, so why can't I just do that? And I fall at the last hurdle. What a surprise.
Oh well.
And I was going to say, have you noticed that there are skulls in front of every painting, which basically show you how hard it is? So in the first world, most of them were like 3s, but this one is a 5. This is the highest level.
Yeah.
And I think it deserves it. And actually, this is the last hurdle. There we go. Not a big one.
Whee! There we go.
Yeah, these levels are great. I really can't say anything bad about them. In some ways, they're the most unique part of the whole game. I'm pretty sure they were touted in the original marketing materials in the demo. What the last thing you can play in the demo, I think, is the first rhythm game.
Ah.
And the achievement says Mad World, which is very strange because I know the Tears for Fears song Mad World, and that was nothing like it. So, you know, go figure. Anyway, we have now had the chance to move on to 20,000 Lums Under the Sea, which is where we'll be next time. Until then, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.